and welcome back. The topic today is women being the final barrier to themselves. And before we get into that, I want to just do a quick recap of some of the progress that women have made. First of all, today, women make up 60% of all people in college. And that means that there's only 40% of men that are in college. And the studies show that if the trend continues, in a couple years, there will be two women for every man in college. Now, I'm not saying everybody needs to go to college. They certainly don't. I know many men who have made it to the top CEOs who have dropped out or started major businesses. So, but I'm just saying it does help to have that education if you want to be a top executive. And another thing that women, I think, now really understand is that they need to have a personal life that supports their career goals. And now there are even more men that are staying at home, taking care of the family. And we have many role models today of top female executives that have been very successful in business as well as having a family. Another issue that I think has held women back some is in pregnancy and menstruation. Now, these topics have been kind of taboo, not being talked about much, but I think they're very important, especially if you are a woman who is experiencing fatigue or other medical issues during pregnancy or pain during menstruation. And many women do. So if you are one of these women, it's hard to be fully productive and effective. So I encourage you to talk to your boss or senior people and find a way that you could be accommodated. And you might say, well, why should companies even have to think about these things? And I say, because it's a fact of life, number one. And if we want a fully productive economy, then we need to have women fully productive in the workforce. So it just makes common sense. Let's accommodate women and help them. I think another thing that has been understood is that if women want to make it to the top or to high level positions, it helps to be well rounded, to have both administrative as well as technical disciplines. And I always hold up Mary Barra, CEO of GM, as an example. She was an engineer and then was in HR and then went back to an operational function before becoming CEO. So we have many role models today. Now, for some of the issues that I think are still barriers for women, the first one is feeling good about power and authority. Now, traditionally, women have kind of shirked from feeling powerful. And the reason for that is that some women, many women, feel that if you're powerful, then you're not womanly, you're not feminine. But we need to change the way we think about power. And I want to give you a couple examples from my own life. First of all, and this goes back 25 years ago, when I realized that my husband was very ill and possibly could die. Obviously, still is. That was a very difficult time. And I asked one of his very close friends, I asked him if possibly my success had contributed to his illness. And his friend said, he adores you. You're all he talks about. But he said, I think it's possible that your success has made him feel less than a man. And I was surprised and I felt very bad, obviously. But that was 25 years ago. Now, fast forward, and I've been with a significant other, a very good man, for 12 years. And I have to confess that when I thought about promoting my books or doing these videos, I did think about what would that mean to our relationship? Would it change? Would it change how he feels about me? And obviously, I was surprised that I was still feeling that maybe I should hold myself back. I've decided not to, but that's still the kind of fear that some women have about power and authority. And if you're successful, you do have power and authority. Now, I want to rephrase something that Marianne Williamson, a famous author and now presidential candidate in the United States, and she said, our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate, but that we are powerful beyond measure. So I think the bottom line is we need to rethink power. If we think about power as it has often been in the past, as ruthless and dictatorial around the world, then we're going to still shrink from power. But if we think of power as being kind, loving, having the ability to support people and help people, and even possibly change the world, then our attitude about power and authority totally changes. So I think this is really something important for women to think about. Another issue is how we think about bragging. And I've mentioned this in several other videos. Now, bragging is sometimes thought about as pounding your chest and screaming out loud and all that about how wonderful you are. And I'm not talking about that kind of bragging. But I think it is important for women to own up and share their skills, their success, what their capabilities are. And that's not bragging in a negative sense. That's bragging in a positive sense. And let's not even use the word bragging. I don't like to use that word. I like to say, I just want to own up and share what I'm capable of doing. For example, I feel okay, or actually pretty good, saying I was a really good computer programmer and designer. I was very good at it. I was very successful. Now, that might be considered bragging, but it's simply stating something that I think is a fact. And if women don't share their abilities and their skills, then that's another reason why they're often overlooked. I kind of try to be humble and, stay in the background and things like that, as I thought women should be. But that is not going to gain you success and power and authority so that you can change the world. And now, many women recognize these deficiencies. Let's call them deficiencies. And now there are classes and books that are so helpful. I've taken many of them and read many of them because women tend to share the same issues, demons. So I encourage you, go online, find a book, find a class, and really build yourself up. Okay, now, and one more thing to remember, we don't have to fit into the good old boys club. We don't have to smoke cigars unless you want to, and that's okay. So we can be ourselves. Now, with that, I told you this was going to be a slightly longer video. So today I have 5 questions that I think are important for you to consider. Question 1. Do you believe a woman can be as competent as a man in performing top jobs? CEO of a large corporation, or President of the United States? Question 2. How should women act in business so that they are not seen as being indecisive, weak, and ineffectual? Question 3. Are you afraid of being viewed as a powerful woman? And do you think powerful women who have achieved position and authority are viewed as being less feminine? And if so, how can they resolve this conflict within themselves? Question 4. Do you think your chances of attracting and keeping a spouse or partner is less likely if you are viewed as powerful and successful? And question 5. Are you comfortable owning and telling others about your accomplishments and successes? With that, the next video is going to be the fact that women are destined to excel. Thank you again for listening, and I hope to see you next time.